Good evening. Namaskaram. Welcome to Financial Seminar presented on behalf of St. Thomas SyroMalabar Forane Church, Philadelphia, under the leadership of Father Vinod Madathiparambil. My name is George Matthew. I am a CPA practicing in Pennsylvania. My presentation will be both in English and Malayalam. My friends, we all are together in this crisis. We are to be grateful to God that we are in America, where there is an established system for financial assistance when there is a crisis like this. ദൈവത്തിന് പ്രത്യേകമായി നന്ദി. The sudden disruptions caused by COVID-19 crisis presents economic challenges. While some factors are beyond our control, financial knowledge can help everyone to manage their finances through times of hardship and times of prosperity. So let us all think together how to survive in this crisis. This evening, I am going to talk about the following major items in the COVID-19 CARES Act: stimulus package, employment compensation, emergency sick leave, etc., housing sector, tenants and home mortgages, credit card payments, student loan payments, your tax filings for the year 2019, utility payments, PICO and Comcast, etc., 401k, IRA withdrawals, refinancing during this crisis, medical coverage, and PPP loan. Stimulus package. നമുക്ക് സ്റ്റിമുലസ് പാക്കേജ് എന്താണെന്നുള്ളത് ചിന്തിക്കാം. US Treasury Department distributed $1,200 to single taxpayers who makes up to $75,000, and married filing joint made up to $150,000, and they got $2,400 check. And children under 17 years of age received $500 extra with their parents' return. Now what happens who makes more than $75,000? Single taxpayers makes more than $75,000 up to $98,000 got a prorated amount. So as married filing joint taxpayers made between $150,000 to $198,000. Who is eligible to get it? Very simple. US citizens and green card holders. Please understand that you have to have a social security number to receive this stimulus package. What is that you must do to get it? Ordinarily, if you filed your 2018 tax or 2019 taxes and you receive a refund in those years and you had a direct deposit established, then this money will come to your account automatically. If you did not have a direct deposit, then they will send a check to your address or send a debit card in the mail to their. This will be applicable to all social security recipients also. If you did not get the stimulus package, please visit IRS website at irs.gov and get My Payment web portal for updating bank information or for anything about it. Now the question, those who are above 17 years of age and claimed as a dependent on the tax return, what happens to them? Do they get stimulus package? The answer is no. For students, if your parents claim as a dependent, it's not that. There are two categories of credits they get it. One is the education credit, the other one is hope credit. In my opinion, if they got both credits, it may be to the advantage that you be the dependent. If they only got your dependent credit, that is only $500, then you ask your parents to file their to do an amended tax return, and you can file an EIP with the stimulus package. You have to definitely calculate what is the benefit for you, then only you do this. And if you did not receive the payment this year, you will get it in 2021. Now, certain things you have to remember. If you get a phone call from IRS stating that you have to share your personal information, then only we will mail you a check or mail the payment. Please understand, IRS will never call you. It is a scam. Do not give your personal information to anybody, including a social security number, date of birth. Then people ask me a question whether the stimulus payment they give you is taxable next year. No, the answer is no. So you don't have to worry about it. 4 million people will receive stimulus money on a prepaid debit card called economic back payment card instead of paper check. Please understand, this EAP card arrives in a plain envelope. And I heard certain stories that people never check their mail, so that must have been discarded. So in that situation, if you did not get a check in the mail or a debit card, please call IRS at 1-800-240-8100 to issue a replacement check or a replacement card. Again, the number is 1-800-240-8100. ഇനി അടുത്ത കാറ്റഗറിയിലേക്ക് നമുക്ക് പോകാം, അൺഎംപ്ലോയ്മെന്റ് കോമ്പൻസേഷൻ. അൺഎംപ്ലോയിഡ് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽസ് ഫുൾ ടൈം ഓർ പാർട്ട് ടൈം ആൻഡ് ഗിഗ് വർക്കേഴ്സ്. ഗിഗ് വർക്കേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് സെൽഫ് എംപ്ലോയിഡ്, എസ്പെഷ്യലി ഊബർ ആൻഡ് ലിഫ്റ്റ് ഡ്രൈവേഴ്സ്, ദേ വിൽ റിസീവ് ദ അൺഎംപ്ലോയ്മെന്റ് കോമ്പൻസേഷൻ. എത്ര നാളാണ് ഇത് കിട്ടുന്നത്? Up to 39 weeks from the state level for laid off or furloughed workers. ഇതിൽ ഫെഡറൽ ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ പാർട്ട് എന്താണ്? അഡീഷണൽ $600 ഫെഡറൽ ലെവൽ സ്റ്റാർട്ടഡ് ഫ്രം April 4, 2020 through the week of ending July 25, 2020. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പെയ്ഡ് സിക്ക് ലീവ് കിട്ടിയില്ലെങ്കിൽ അൺഎംപ്ലോയ്മെന്റിന് വേണ്ടി അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്യാം. യു വിൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി ഗെറ്റ് ഇറ്റ്. ഇതിനകത്ത് മറ്റൊരു സവിശേഷത, സ്റ്റേറ്റ്സ് ഹാവ് വേവ്ഡ് വെയിറ്റിംഗ് പീരിയഡ്, ജോബ് സെർച്ച് ആൻഡ് വർക്ക് രജിസ്ട്രേഷൻ റിക്വയർമെന്റ്സ് ഡ്യൂറിംഗ് COVID-19 ക്രൈസിസ്. നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം, അൺഎംപ്ലോയ്മെന്റിന് ക്ലെയിം ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പല റെസ്ട്രിക്ഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അതെല്ലാം വേവ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ അഡീഷണൽ ചാർജസ് എംപ്ലോയേഴ്സിന് ചെയ്യുമായിരുന്നു, അതും ഇല്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് എംപ്ലോയേഴ്സ് വിൽ ബി ഹാപ്പി ടു സൈൻ യുവർ പേപ്പർ വർക്ക് ആൻഡ് സെൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ബാക്ക് ടു ദി അൺഎംപ്ലോയ്മെന്റ് office. If you are eligible to claim unemployment, you still have time to apply for it, and you should do it as soon as possible since the federal part of unemployment runs out in July 2020. Now let us think about the circumstances to receive emergency paid sick leave. 2 weeks of emergency family leave and paid sick leave is allowed under this COVID crisis. It is given to people provided if a person has COVID-19 or tested positive for COVID-19, or the person has to take care of COVID-19 affected spouse or immediate family members. So this is given by the federal government, and you can apply for 80 hours of paid sick leave. Your employer is responsible to pay you this amount. Now let us talk about the housing. Tenants. Can they be evicted because of non-payment? No. They cannot be evicted for 3 months. It started in April, so the period is ending in June 2020. No late payment fees also will be charged from the tenants. Homeowners. I know many of us are homeowners and you are paying mortgage. And you can automatically get a 90-day grace period to pay your mortgage payments without any late payment penalty. You have to let your lenders know your circumstances. This privilege is also ending this month as of June 30th, 2020. Bank and credit card relief. If you are struggling to make credit card payments, loan payments, contact your lender right away. Whether it is American Express, Bank of America, Capital One, Chase Bank, US Bank, PNC, Wells Fargo, you name it, all of them. They all have financial hardship relief programs. Please look into that. Even they will waive penalties for early withdrawal from CDs. But you have to call them and let them know your circumstances. Student loan. Your student loan payments were automatically stopped from March 13, 2020 through September 30th, 2020. Can you believe a 6-month relief? ഇനി നമുക്ക് 2019 ടാക്സ് ഫയലേഴ്സിനെ കുറിച്ച് ചിന്തിക്കാം. Those who filed their taxes, well and good, you are in compliance. ഇനി ഫയൽ ചെയ്യാത്തവർക്ക് the deadline for filing 2019 personal taxes extended to July 15, 2020. And if you owe money, you can pay it without late payment penalty and interest. നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു കാര്യം മനസ്സിലാക്കണം. ലേറ്റ് പേയ്മെന്റ് പെനാൽറ്റി ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റുമാണ് സോഫാർ അവർ വേവ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. എസ്റ്റിമേറ്റഡ് ടാക്സസ് കൊടുക്കാത്തവർക്ക് ഒരു വേവിങ് ഇതുവരെ വന്നിട്ടില്ല. അത് വരുമോ എന്നുള്ളത് തൽക്കാലം നമുക്ക് ചിന്തിച്ചിട്ട് ചെയ്യാം. കാരണം അപ് ടു $1,000 നിങ്ങൾ ഓ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ദർ ഇസ് നോ എസ്റ്റിമേറ്റഡ് ടാക്സ് പെനാൽറ്റി. അതർവൈസ് ഇഫ് യു ഡോണ്ട് പേ ദ പേയ്മെന്റ് യു ഓ അപ് ടു 90% യു ഓ, then they will establish an estimated tax penalty. Well, let's wait and watch. And if you cannot file the tax return by July 15, please take an extension. And if you think you owe money, kindly pay estimated taxes when you file the extension. Utilities. If you are struggling to pay your bills, contact your service provider to make payment arrangements. You know, every companies, they have their own policies, and this time during the COVID-19, due to emergency or utility companies cannot shut off your services like electricity, natural gas, water, telecommunication, and wastewater, etc. Now regarding Comcast, they have come up with a special data provision. Companies giving all customers unlimited data for no additional charge. No late fees will be charged if you can't make the payment on time. Will not disconnect your internet services due to non-payment. Please get in touch with them if you have problem in making payment. Now let's talk about the big topic, that is the 401k and IRA withdrawals during this COVID-19. Typically what happens when you withdraw money from IRAs and 401k? They charge you 10% penalty and a 20% will be withheld towards federal taxes. Now under CARES Act 2020, you can withdraw up to $100,000 without paying the penalty. No mandatory withholdings. Pay the taxes directly by you. Distribution can be spread over 3 years, 2020, 2021, and 2022, and you can pay the taxes accordingly. It sounds like very attractive to you, right? Well, I have to caution you for withdrawals from retirement funds. You may be hurting your retirement future. Every dollar you take will reduce your funds during the retirement life. So think about it. Think twice before you withdraw money from this one, although you're getting this 10% penalty waiver. Let me take you to an example. Say you are age 40 and withdrawing $50,000 now from your 401k plan. Well, do you think you can make around $6,000 compound interest on your pension investments? Maybe. Well, for the sake of our argument, let's say you make 5% on your retirement funds. And when you reach age 60, that means after 20 years, your money will grow to $160,000 plus. So think about it. You saved $5,000 penalty as early withdrawal, but losing almost $155,000 minus the $50,000, $110,000. So what is that you have to do now? If you think you will be staying with your current employer for 5 years, a loan may be a better option. However, if a new job is on the horizon and you need to access the retirement funds, a coronavirus withdrawal may be more attractive. Can I withdraw for paying off a high interest rate loans? Well, yes. Cash withdrawal from a retirement account should be last resort. But if you are thinking to pay off a high interest credit card payments or a high personal loan, please withdraw money from the retirement account. But make sure if you are taking pay off that particular loan or the credit card in full as soon as possible. The second scenario, to avoid a house foreclosure, yes, withdraw money from your retirement account by all means. If you do decide to withdraw, the key to downside is to only take out what is absolutely necessary. Well, if you are taking a loan from your retirement accounts, try to pay it back in 3 years. The sooner, the better. Under CARES Act, let's see what happens to RMD's required minimum distribution from retirement accounts. You know RMD, right? Retired minimum distribution. If you reach age 70 and a half in 2020 or later, you must take your first RMD by April 1st of the year after you reach 72. That means 2 years they increased it. The CARES Act suspended required minimum distribution or RMDs for the year 2020 for all qualified retirement plans. So please make a note of this. 2020, all RMDs are suspended. So you know how to take RMD out. And someone asked me, should I take the RMD in one installment or throughout the year? The answer is, it does not matter whether you take in one installment or quarterly or monthly, in whichever way suits you. If you do not need RMDs, this is a key point. Consider about a charitable contribution, maybe to our church or any other institution. When you direct your RMD to a charity, it becomes a qualified charitable distribution or QCD, which is no longer considered taxable income. IRA owners who are at least 70 and a half may transfer as much as $100,000 directly to charity each year. Now it is 72 years, so you can transfer up to $100,000 to a charitable organization. Next area is refinancing your home. Interest rates are for 30-year or 15 years mortgages are currently historic lows. So now may be the best time to refinance, but you have to look into few scenarios. Refinancing makes sense if you want to keep your home a bit longer. Always think about the time you can recover the refinancing closing cost. Let's say your monthly payment decreases $100 per month. That is $12,000 a year. And your closing costs are $5,000. It will take 50 months, just over 4 years, to break even. So if you are planning to sell the house prior to that refinancing, it may not be a good idea. But if you are staying for 10 years, 7 years or more, I would say 10 years plus, yes, please refinance. If you are in need of some emergency funds, equity loan may be a viable solution, or a line of credit, establish it. The interest rate is also tax deductible in many cases. Please remember, when you refinance your house, you are starting a brand new loan and your credit score will take a slight and temporary hit. Please note that your credit score will come back to normal when you start paying back and create a payment history. And if you are experiencing problems for a short period of time, you can look into mortgage forbearance program. Please work with your lenders and they can reduce your monthly payments or even suspend them for a short time. Now let's talk about investment accounts. Withdrawing cash out of investment accounts during these coronavirus era. Can we do it now? The simple answer is no. Due to COVID-19, the S&P 500 had its largest first quarter decline in history, and people lost an average of 20% of their investment. I know this can lead to a panic selling, but historically, it will come back in few years. In some stocks you think do not gain value in another 5 years or so, then you may sell them. Please check with your agent. Remember, this is the key. You have not lost anything until you sell it. Please don't look at it now. Wait for a few years. Now, let me briefly go over short-term and long-term capital gains. If you hold your investment assets for more than a year, the losses or the gains called long-term gains, and if it is less than a year, it's called short-term gains. Short-term gains are netted against short-term or long-term losses and vice versa. After netting gains against losses, and still if you have losses, you can deduct $3,000 for single or married filing joint filers, and unused losses will be carried forward over future years. Short-term investments are taxed at your regular income tax rate. Long-term gains are taxed at 15% to a maximum of 20% depending on your adjusted gross income, that is AGI. Now, what is wash sale? A wash sale occurs when an investor sells a security at a loss and then purchases the security or substantially similar one within 30 days before or after the sale. The IRS wash sale rules disallows deduction for losses related to wash sales. So please be careful. Wait for at least 31 days. This is the key in selling and buying the stocks. Let's move into another important area, medical coverage during this COVID-19. Many of you lost your job through layoffs, furlough, etc. To maintain access to medical care, check into COBRA continuation coverage or Obamacare. If you cannot afford a COBRA coverage or Obamacare, please look into Medicaid coverage provided by the states. Please note that every state has different rules, so please check into that. Now let's talk about small businesses and PPP loan during this COVID-19 crisis. The CARES Act provides protection for small businesses with less than 500 employees by giving a PPP loan that is called Paycheck Protection Program loan. The PPP loan is for meeting payroll and other approved expenses for 2.5 months. The qualified expenses shall include payroll expenses, employer 401k match, business mortgage interest obligations, business rent release payments, employer portion of health insurance, utilities, paid sick leave, medical leave, etc. Payroll expenses are capped to $100,000 per employee. Repayment of loan interest rate is at 1%, will start after 6 months from the date of disbursements and should pay back in 2 years. Let's talk about loan forgiveness. For qualified expenses incurred by the business beginning the 8-week period, now changed to 24 weeks. Periodic expense reports are to be submitted with proof of expenses to the authorities. Now let me conclude by saying thank you for listening. As I told you in the beginning, this adopted land of ours has great potential to take care of the needs of people from every walk of life in any crisis. Let us thank God that we are here in America during this crisis. Keep well and safe. If you have any questions, please forward them to us. We may think about having a follow-up session which will include new topics also. Have a great and safe time. One last thing, please do not forget to cast your vote in November.